Frank, let's get straight to it. What do the votes that you've seen come in so far and the polls suggest to you will be the outcome?
I came down to Georgia, and I'm still here because I wanted to see it for myself. I watched the Biden rally yesterday and the Trump rally last night, and the Democrats are more energized. The Democrats are much more united. And I want to raise this point. Donald Trump, in his first few seconds when he came out to speak to his rally, did not talk about the two Senate candidates, spoke about his own being robbed, his own election. Several times he told them that he won in a landslide, and all this does is depress Republican turnout. At a time when you need every possible vote, and Democrats are voting in record numbers over the last 2-3 weeks, Republicans are being told to stay home. And that Donald Trump, when he shows up to deliver that final rallying cry, he spends as much time talking about his own election as he does about the Republicans. The Democrats have an advantage in today's election.
Frank, I don't know whether to use polls or betting sites. I have a lot of doubt about both. I think to frame a term, all bets are off. But anyway, the predicted betting site yesterday got very close, and I almost showed the Dems favored to take control of the Senate after this runoff. Now it's back to 57-45 Republicans. So you're on record saying the Dems win, so we'll see. Once again, I don't know why you do it necessarily, but we'll see what happens after it. But just for what it's worth, it's back. It diverged again, and for some reason, I don't know, maybe because it's a nice day down there, and they figure that people are going to be able to vote on the day of instead of before. If it was raining, I'd be even harder, wouldn't it, for Republicans if it was raining or freezing down there? But it's a nice day. The sun's out. They could have a big northern Georgia turnout.
The Democrats were smart to bank all their votes early. Right now, the GOP is going to need roughly a 70-30 turnout today to balance the Democratic turnout, particularly in Atlanta, the suburbs, and the black communities. They turned out in record numbers. And in fact, there's actually 120,000 more people who voted in this election than will vote in the presidential election. And that looks like it's happening in Democratic areas. In the Republican areas, in those rural communities, the vote was actually down. The early vote was down compared to November. And why do I do it, Joe? Because I want to try to provide insight to the viewers. I will not be surprised if the Republicans win. But in terms of making that projection based on the interest level, the unity level, the issues and how they're running in their campaigns. And one last point. The Democrats are running a much more personalized campaign. What this means to you. The Republicans are running a nationwide ideological campaign, what it means to the country. What we have found is by 3-2, that voters tend to make the decisions based on how they are impacted versus how the nation is impacted. So I actually think that the Democratic campaign has been marginally better than the Republican campaign down here.
Well,
NBC News is projecting that Democrat Raphael Warnock has defeated Republican Kelly Loeffler. The other race between Jon Ossoff and Senator David Perdue is still too close to call. But joining us right now to walk us through all of this is Frank Luntz. He's the political strategist and pollster who we spoke to yesterday as well. And Frank, a lot of the predictions that you made yesterday are coming true this morning. You said you didn't think we'd know by last night. You thought we'd know maybe by today. And it looks like some of that is starting to come up. And as you predicted, the Democrats having a little bit of an edge here. How do you think the rest of this is going to play out?
I think in the end, it's going to play out the way that we talked about yesterday, that the Democrats are going to take advantage of the disappointment of the Republican Party that Donald Trump lost the election, the frustration that moderates and centrists have with Trump not accepting his defeat, and the feeling that it's time to move on. It's time to move forward. This is a very costly loss for the GOP. I think in the end, that other Senate seat will go Democratic. And then what plays out today is that Republicans yell and scream on the floor of the House with the Senate just beside them. And they yell and scream about the election results. And the public says, you guys are sore losers.
hey, Frank, so that we talked about it yesterday. That was a bold call you made, which is being borne out. But 4.4 million votes in the Perdue Ossoff race. and it's 16,000, I think, something like that right now. So 4.4 million, that's 0.2%. You're good, but there's no way that you had input that where your limit of resolution gets down to 0.2%. That was a gut call. That plus or minus 0.2%, the standard deviation, there's nobody that's that good. So, I mean, that's crazy. That was a, you stuck your neck out and it's going to work, but you can't call it. You don't have the resolution to that. No pollster. I don't give pollsters 3%, much less of accuracy, much less 0.22%.